I am thinking about calling off my wedding because my fiancé cares more about her family's expectations than about us. How do I live with this situation? I have been dating my fiancé for almost 4 years and we got engaged a few weeks ago. Currently in the process of planning our wedding. Lately, I've been trying to be rational and mature about some aspects that truly hinder our relationship. Your advice and help would be greatly appreciated. About me, I am 35 years old, a resident physician and currently completing my specialization in a competitive medical field. I do work around 6 days a week, about 10 to 12 hours a day. I am laid back and rarely talk about the stressors that I am living. I have been raised in a way where you just have to get things done and have been very diligent about the way I spend my money. I always shop around, buy second-hand items and try to plan for financial freedom at some point in life. My current revenue is about $60,000 a year and I also own a rental property as well as a house that I had purchased a few weeks before meeting my partner. My total revenue is about $90,000 per year and I try to save as much as possible to repay back loans. I have a very small family and we have always lived a very simple, modest life which allowed my parents to have enough money to retire early and live without stress. About her, she is 30 years old, an engineer in a very nice company where she makes around $120,000 per year working 4 days a week. She has general anxiety but is able to control it most of the time. She has the biggest heart in the world and is my best friend. She has 2 hard-working parents with a modest revenue. She did not save up any money in the last few years because she is surrounded by a very large extended family that is mostly extremely rich because of generational wealth. I am talking 10 uncles/aunts and 40 cousins. Her immediate family is the poorest of the extended family. We do interact with them almost daily. She is often influenced by their lifestyle and compares herself to them. She also is extremely protective about not offending anyone in her extended family and sometimes will be very careful about how they could feel about something because they are prone to a lot of drama and ego fights. About us, we started dating almost 4 years ago and I deeply love her. We live in Boston and come from Italian families where traditional roles are still present but we have a modern view on everything. Her family is very religious, Catholic, while I was brought up as an atheist that was not baptized. That caused a lot of friction at first, causing her mother to pressure her to end the relationship because of the fear of what her extended family would think about us. To solve this, out of love, I eventually just told her that I would get baptized if her family would feel better about it. I figured it's a small gesture that really would solve an issue. Her extended family is extremely important to her to the extent that it is a bit obsessive. Right now, we have been facing 3 main issues that I am not sure how to tackle. 1. Financial expectations. With my salary, I am the only person paying for our house that we completely renovated with the help of my parents. She did contribute to some of it although I never asked her to. She mentions often that she could chip in to help out but I would rather she saves money for the wedding at this time. Our mortgage payment is low because of a few real estate deals I made which allowed me to put almost $600,000 as a down payment for our house. The fact that I am paying for the house is my own decision and I am not blaming her for it. The issue I am facing is that she has the same taste as her wealthy extended family while we don't have the same means. She does not seem aware of her financial situation. She tries to be reasonable but I still have a lot of fear about our future because despite our minimal house expenses that I am mostly taking care for, she will always compare herself to people around her that work minimally and have tremendous income thanks to their parents. Some of our fights in the last year have been around how much I should spend on an engagement ring. My initial budget was $5,000 but she mentioned that everyone around her had spent at least around $20,000. How many times the cleaning lady should be at the house. We have a small house and I figured having her once every 2 weeks is fine but she insists having her over every week, $250 every time. How much she should spend on a new car. She has a very nice modern car, 2020, that she bought for $17,000 after I convinced her that she can't afford a luxury rental at this point, $600-800 per month. These financial issues have been worse during the wedding planning process where I told her that some expenses were a bit too high for our revenue and she would get mad at me. Eventually, we found ways to compromise but I feel drained of overlooking every expense since we simply can't afford them. To name a few examples, we fought over the budget for different reasons because she would try to book vendors recommended by her very wealthy family whereas would try to convince her that it is worth it to just shop around a bit. Wedding dress, she expected to pay $20,000. Bought for $10,000. Photography, she was about to book for $10,000, convinced her to book for $5,000. flowers, she expected to pay $25K, convinced her to book for $15K. My biggest problem with these expenses is that we don't have the budget for them, and I find it hard that a beautiful day for us is turning into this stressful event where we are expected to impress people that don't care about us. Most of all, I find it hard that we are losing the essence and basis of a wedding, two loving people just having fun with their families. She is afraid that if certain things are not up to a certain standard, she will be shamed by her family. 2. Importance of her family's expectations in our daily decisions. Another important stressor I am living is that she will often consider her extended family's perspective, opinion, and attitudes in every single major life decision we are making. Often, that decision affects me and makes me get into choices that I would never have picked. Some examples in Elquid. We both agreed we wanted a destination wedding, but she eventually backed down when she overheard some family members saying that they wouldn't come if we didn't have the ceremony at a specific church in our hometown. She got into a fight with me because I mentioned the fact that the diamond on her ring was a lab diamond, which would lead some of her family members to consider it fake, although she really likes her ring. She fought with me because I told her that one of her family members was extremely rude to me and that the next time I was going to call him off on it. She said that I should never do that because it would ruin her relationship with her family that means the world to her. Now don't get me wrong, I do get along great with her family. The issue that I keep wondering about is, what about our family? Aren't we a family? I can't help to think to myself about why I am expected to do all of these sacrifices while asking nothing, and yet feel like I have to meet certain standards, set my ego aside and please people that would never do the same for me. 3. Level of commitment and sacrifice. I am a big believer in the fact that a relationship should allow both partners to be their best and that it is not a competition. Whenever she is living some stressful situation at work or a deadline for a project, our relationship is greatly affected and we often don't plan any activities until the project is over. On the other end, I will sometimes be blamed because I am not attending one of her numerous family events because I am studying, which I really don't have a choice to do in my field. I always support her and would move for her if she found her dream job, if I can also find something there eventually. On the other end, she mentioned to me very often that if I was to subspecialize in a field I want, she would support me but not move with me. I was taken back by this comment because I wondered if it was a normal way of supporting a future husband. She mentioned often that her family is her world, so she could never move away from them. At this point, I am not sure if my feelings are normal. Do I want to live the rest of my life like this? How much is too much? What are you expected to do or not for your partner? And most of all, am I crazy for thinking that I would expect my partner to consider me like her new family? Comment. I think you need to consider your future. Are you prepared to deal with her family and their interference and expectations for the rest of your life? What about kids? Are they going to be forced to be Catholic? Are you okay with that? It sounds like she doesn't bring much to your partnership but asks a lot. She's already strongly indicated that you are not her priority is her extended family. I think you should have a very serious talk about this with her, about holding up her end of the partnership and making you a priority. If you aren't satisfied with her answers, I think you should go your separate ways to find more compatible partnerships. You have to hash out the issues in terms of what role her family is going to play in your lives before you sink any more money into this wedding. Because if you don't, this problem where she goes to them and then overrules, or at least tries to overrule, whatever the two of you decided based on what they think is best is not going away. And you literally can't afford that, especially once you start having kids. Are you planning on kids? Because I'm sure they are, and I'm sure they expect them raised and possibly educated as Catholic. I were you, I'd insist on premarital counseling, and not through the church. It's hard to answer. What are you friend's opinion? She loves her family, and they influence her a lot. What's your influence on her? You don't have to make her go against her family, but try to have a frank discussion that you and her are gonna be the family and the priority of each other. Does she understand and accept it fully well? Honestly, from everything you wrote so far, your fiancé sounds exhausting. She comes across as extremely selfish, entitled, and greedy. She has pretty much told you point blank that you are not number one in her life, her extended family is. This will color the rest of your life together, and I truly feel that you will come to resent her one day. Because she is all about them, instead of you/us, and I don't understand why you would settle for that. I get you love her, but she loves her family more, sorry, but I think you will make a mistake marrying someone like her. This sounds like an utter nightmare tbh. It's bad now, what will it be like when you're married? Their opinion will dominate your lives. She's so enmeshed with them that she isn't making plans for her future with you, she's making it with them. Also, she seems impractical and will overspend for stupid reasons, because she's never had to be concerned about income. I think there's a chance you know this isn't right and are looking for a way to rationalize it. Sometimes, it's just not right, and it makes total sense that given the wedding, all of the expectations that come with it, everyone knowing the wedding is happening, everything you paid for and built together, given all of those things, I know it seems like an impossible thing to walk away from. But the fact you're considering not marrying this person means you have to really do both of you a favor and isolate what you're feeling, listen to your heart, not consider the list of pros and cons up in your head. Marriage is no joke and love is part of the equation. There's a ton of life that comes flying at you, and if you're just nervous that's one thing, but if you're already thinking / feeling she's not the one you want to fight with / fight for, then there's only one answer here. That's what you have to be honest with yourself about, you know? Regardless, you will bounce back. Your people will be there for you, lean on them, and you'll both be better for you making a brutally honest decision one way or another. This was a lot to read, and sounds exhausting. I would leave. I would not want to spend the rest of my life trying to impress people I would only see once a year. The finances alone are a reason to leave. If she wants to live above her means, she can do it alone without you. I would never offer to be baptized just to please someone else. Religion is extremely personal, it's worse to lie and pretend than to just say no initially. You will never come before her family, so what you're seeing and experiencing is never going to change.